Hey guys, and welcome back to another one of my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. videos, and today we're going to be discussing the synopsis for the 4th episode of the 6th season, which will be otherwise titled Code Yellow. Now before I get started, and because I'm going to be talking about a couple of things on this video and not just the synopsis, this video, and just like other videos of the sort, longer videos, is going to be indexed in the description down below. So if you want to skip on a certain part of this video, go to the next part, go to another part of the synopsis, or just to the theory part, you can always click on the relevant timestamp down below. Okay, so there is this one thing that people have been asking about in the comments: where in the hell is Deke? Now we know that Jeff Ward is a series regular for season 6, so it makes a lot of sense that he does make it back like sometime soon and actually shows up on every episode. Now whether or not Deke makes it on the 3rd episode of the season, which by the way is a possibility, I'm gonna discuss that in a moment, but we've definitely got an answer for episode 4. Deke is gonna be making it on episode 4. There's a lot of humor going on from what it seems on episode 4 and based on the synopsis as well. So yeah, the kind of humor that is very inherent to the Deke character. So for so many reasons, I think that Deke is going to make it back for the first time this season, either on the stinger of episode 3 or on episode 4. Think about it this way: the 3rd episode of the season, from the synopsis, from the trailer, it does seem like it is basically very similar to episode 2. And what was the big thing about episode 2? Well, episode 2, which was titled Window of Opportunity, gave us the Earth team, Mac and May and Yo-Yo. It also gave us the Sarge team, the enemies of that Earth team, and it gave us the Fitz team, Fitz and Enoch. And besides Fitz and Enoch, they gave us a villain that they had to deal with, but in the end, the one team that was missing out of this equation happened to be the Daisy and Jemma team. So in the same style, and in order not to, jam a lot of events in the same episode, unnecessarily kind of make it feel rushed, they're gonna skip over the entire Earth story going on, and they're just gonna jump into the Space Team story and the Fitz and Enoch story, and that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, maybe in the stinger we would see Deke, they would discover that Deke is still out there, the Earth team that is, but nonetheless, I do not think we're gonna be seeing him before the stinger of the 3rd episode of the season. But here though is your synopsis for the 4th episode of the season, Code Yellow, and I want to get done with it as quickly as possible because there is some theory stuff we want to talk over here, like basically Coulson stuff, Sarge stuff, Mephisto stuff, and all of it is pretty exciting and kind of ties in with a lot of theories that we've been building so far. But okay, the header of the synopsis for the 4th episode reads, so that's what Deke's been up to on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Pretty straightforward, yeah? Okay, so the body of the synopsis: Code Yellow, Yo-Yo and Keller take things public, parasitic aliens threaten the human race, and someone really needs Baba on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., airing Friday, May 31st. Now your cast list for the 4th episode is the same list, that one never changes. The guest starring list includes Barry Shabaka Henley, who's basically Marcus Benson, Lucas Bryant, who's basically Agent Keller, Shainu Bala, that's a new character, the name is not included, so I'm not really sure who that's going to be portraying. But then you've got Brooke Williams, aka Snowflake, Winston James Francis, aka Jacko, and Matt O'Leary, aka Pax. So what you're looking at over here is a pretty much Earth-centric episode. We're not going to be seeing the guys from space, we're probably not going to be seeing Fitz nor Enoch, we're not going to be seeing Daisy and Jemma, but we're rather going to be dealing with everything Earth-related. You don't have Daviiz on the guest starring list, you don't have Piper on the guest starring list, and you don't have Malachi on the guest starring list, and he, by the way, is a recurring guest star. I think that this series at this moment is doing the thing with all the series with shortened seasons, because they've got 13 episodes, they've got multiple storylines, so what they want to do over here is focus on 1 or 2 storylines per episode and then move on to the other storyline, like pick it up a little bit, then basically keep jumping back and forth that way. So they're doing the Game of Thrones, the Man in the High Castle, the Expanse kind of thing over here. But to focus on the body of the synopsis and what to expect out of this episode, Yo-Yo and Keller take things public. Now we know that Mac knows about Yo-Yo and Keller, but nonetheless he knows about it while they're trying to hide it, that's one thing, and knowing about it when they take it public, that's a completely different thing. So do expect a little bit of drama there. There is probably going to be a talk that Mac and Yo-Yo are going to have after she makes her new relationship public. But we've got parasitic aliens threatening the human race. Now that fits with what we watched on the first trailer. So it's like that horrible scene, the Simcoe guy, all that alien, horrible, horrid stuff coming out of his body. So it is basically something out of a lot of alien movies. I'm pretty sure we're going to be getting a lot of references there. I mean, you've got an alien taking over the body of a human and then tearing through it, coming out of it. That's pretty much Mac's moment, the motherlode of all movie references, alien movie references. But the final part though is all about someone really needing Baba. Now thinking about it, that's probably all about bubble tea. And when I first read this, I read this by the way before I read the header of the synopsis, you know, the part promising the return of Deke, and I was thinking over there, oh hell yeah, that's gonna be a Deke episode. I mean, that's pretty much like the burgers, the Jemma, the ice cream that he picked out of a garbage can and started eating on episode 11 of last season. The other option though, and since we're always into pregnancy theories, you know, May is pregnant, Jemma is pregnant, is possibly that Deke is pregnant and he's got pregnancy cravings. But let us put a pin in that because that's practically impossible. Feel free though to ask yourself the question of whether or not Daisy is the father in this case. So yeah, someone needing Baba, someone needing bubble tea, that's gonna be Deke, totally Deke, and we're gonna be seeing a lot of comedy. I think that's the kind of comedy that Elizabeth Henstridge promised prior to the airing of the season. Like she did say, this season is gonna be a little bit lighter than last season. It's not gonna be as dark, we're gonna go back to the lighter format. Not completely light, but quite lighter. But so far though, the only light moments that we've watched were the conversations between Fitz and Enoch, like you think, stuff like that. That was the light part. The sarcasm in Fitz's voice as he spoke to Enoch on last week's episode, like why didn't you tell me that when you were teaching me the language? Or the conversation between Piper and Jemma on the premiere of the season. You read, alien? Yeah, what were you doing with this last year? But that's still the kind of thing that we watched on every season. I think that Deke is going to lighten the mood by a lot, and a lot more than he did last season, because he is going to be a bigger part of this season, at least I suppose so, and that's pretty obvious from the synopsis as well. He's going to be a big part of this episode. But before I move on to the Sarge part of this video, let me remind you that this synopsis does as well answer a very important question. Did Deke disappear at the end of last season? Is this a new Deke that we're seeing on this season? And the answer is no, he did not disappear. This is not a new Deke. I don't think I need to explain further because the header of the synopsis kind of answers this question very clearly. So that's what Deke has been up to on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That's what he's been up to. He's been there all the time. He never vanished. This is not a new Deke. But moving on to Sarge though, there are a couple of pieces of information that kind of came to light. I don't want to call them pieces of information, but rather insights. The first one was right out of the comments to one of my videos, followed by a whole lot of discussions over Discord. And the second one was right out of Discord. That's the one that's more a piece of information that I did not notice. It's not on the episodes yet. So yeah, spoiler alert from future episodes because we've got a character that's going to be appearing on future episodes. We've never met him before, but his name is kind of indicative of who he probably is and what he's going to be doing on the episodes on which he makes an appearance. Alright, I'm going to be brief over here because I'm going to discuss this in detail on next week's theory video, but the first insight over here is that Coulson on the pages of the comics ended up being resurrected by Mephisto, and that's pretty much after his death at the hands of Deadpool. So Deadpool goes back to his mercenary ways and ends up killing Phil Coulson. Phil Coulson comes back. We're basically thinking that at some point he cloned himself, and the clone is what Deadpool really killed. But then Mephisto shows up, and he pretty much claims and explains that he's the one to have resurrected Phil Coulson. Now think of everything that we've been talking about so far. You know, Sarge from the comics, the Hellhound. By the way, when I try to equate the Ghost Trick, for example, with the Ghost Trick from the comics, I'm not saying he's a Ghost Rider. I'm not saying this is the Ghost Trick from the comics. I'm saying it's an Easter egg, a hint towards the possibility that this new Coulson, Sarge, is basically either a demonic entity or someone who's been resurrected by a demonic entity. The same thing kind of applies to the name Sarge. I'm not saying he is a Hellhound. I'm saying he's like the Hellhound from the comics. So it is another hint. He's been resurrected in some kind of hell dimension at the hands of or at the orders of some kind of demonic being. I'm not really blaming listeners or viewers for being literal about these things, but when I say Easter egg before any of these statements, I'm just talking, the possibility that this might be hinting at someone else, kind of giving us a clue. Doesn't necessarily have to be the same thing, but something that's been loosely built and written in the spirit of that thing I'm mentioning, like the Ghost Trick or the Hellhound from the comics. But yeah though, the fact that we've got a precedent with Coulson on the pages of the comics kind of hints at the idea that this is a major possibility. You know, this might be our Coulson resurrected, or another universe's Coulson resurrected. So in the end, one or two Coulsons, and in the end as well, he did end up becoming Sarge. On another note, and before I get the annoying comments of the sort of "you're mentioning stuff as fact," this is just a theory, just remember that. Do remember as well that I'm talking about something in the spirit of the story out of the comics, so I'm not expecting Mephisto, for example. I mean, Mephisto is a major character in the comics, a character that might be part of the series, but nonetheless, it's possible that it is reserved for the movies, so they're gonna probably do a variation of that, and not exactly that. But yeah though, moving on to the second point, the piece of information out of the casting for future episodes of this season, we've got actor Christian Okoye, and he's going to be appearing on episodes 608, 610, and 613 in the role of a character called Baal-Gad. Now Baal-Gad is a hyphenated name. It is spelled B-A-A-L, and then you get the hyphen over there, and then you get the G-A-D, the Gad part. Now, if that's any reminder of any kind of names out there, it reminds us of Kree names, you know, both on the series and in the movies. You've got the way Minerva is hyphenated, you've got Bronkar, you've got Atlas, you've got Vintok, you've got Yon-Rogg, you've got Mar-Vell, and you've got Mastandar. I mean, it's really easy to make the connection over here. And now that we've got a Kree person appearing in the back half of the season, and for 3 episodes, it kind of makes us think, what is this guy doing over here? Could that fit with my theory that I posted on my first theory update? A theory that, by the way, does not negate the idea that this Sarge is our Coulson or any other Coulson resurrected. I mean, the two theories are not really mutually exclusive, but the theory does state that they're like the Raiders. You know, with the Lee Lines, Courtco, and whatnot, they are like the Raiders hired by Edwin Court, and Sarge and his team have been basically hired by the Kree, or to be more precise, the Confederacy. It is quite obvious that the Confederacy is still at play as of the beginning of the season. I mean, they're looking for Jemma and Daisy, most probably Daisy. They are looking for the Zephyr in space. So yeah, they're still at play, they're still out there, and they're still probably hunting Inhumans. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself. We've still got a way to go before we get to episodes 8, 10, and 13, but nonetheless, there are a few questions that kind of pop in your mind when you hear the name Baal-Gad. When you think of Kree and Confederacy, are we gonna see Tarian again? You know, Cassius' father, the one we met close to the end of Season 5. Are we gonna be meeting Cassius himself again? I mean, Cassius in this timeline, to start with, is not dead, and even if he were, that's basically in the future, because on the original timeline, he died in the future. But I'll do you one better as well. Are we gonna see Graviton? Because remember, Graviton can breathe in space if we go by the comic book Graviton. So are we gonna see Graviton? Is Graviton gonna make a comeback? Are the Kree and the Confederacy in possession of Graviton? Is there a chance in hell that's gonna be happening? After all, the producers of the series didn't want to close the door on that one completely, but they rather left a little bit of a crack in order for them to be able to bring him back again on future seasons. But yeah, a lot of questions, a lot of possibilities. It's gonna be an amazing season if it keeps going at the pace it's been going so far. It's really doing well in my opinion. The story so far is intriguing, it's kinda different. It hasn't ripened yet, it hasn't gotten to the peak, so it's still to beat seasons like Season 4 and whatnot. But nonetheless, it's still going in a positive direction, and I see great things for this season if it keeps going that way. But that though having been said, my work here is done, so let me know in the comments down below what you thought of these couple of theories, what you think of these new additions to the already existing theories, to be more precise. Let me know as well if you've got any theories of your own that I haven't mentioned on any of my videos. Make sure as well you let me know what you think of the synopsis of Episode 4, what you expect out of Episode 4, and if you're excited for the return of Deke. Finally though, you can let me know if you did like this video by dropping it a much appreciated like, subscribing to this channel, and make sure while you're at it to enable notifications in order to get updated whenever I upload a new video, publish a new community post, or start a new live stream. But until the next time that you tune in for another one of my videos, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or otherwise, thank you so much for tuning into this video, and have a great day.